أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله.
بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. أما بعد, I know that many of you are very eager and ready to come to the lesson for the ilm al-Shariah and to stay for the next 2 hours. But inshallah we'll make it nice and easy for you today, as someone older in age asked me to. Inshallah we'll just give an introduction into Kitab al-Jinayat. Jinayat, we'll explain what it is, but just to give you a quick summary, is the criminal actions that a person does against someone else. In this particular case, we're going to start with a person killing someone else. Okay, a person killing someone else, whether it was on purpose, it was by accident. We're going to get through it. What's the Islamic rulings, inshallah. Sheikh Abdul Aziz, as they do in the many Arab countries, in the circles of knowledge, he's going to read. He actually wanted to read the Arabic and then I explained, but I told him I'm not going to let him, because usually it's one of the students, he reads for the Sheikh. But the Sheikh, and he's bigger, he's older, he's more knowledgeable than us, so I refused. Okay, I said, there's no way I'm going to let that happen, but for the barakah of the majlis, inshallah, yani for him to participate, I go, khalas, you can read it, the Arabic, and then I'll just go through with the English, inshallah. Fadal Sheikh.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. قال المؤلف رحمه الله وإياه أبي محمد عبد الله المقدسي في كتاب الإيمان في باب الإيمان كتاب الجنايات: القتل بغير حق ينقسم إلى 3 أقسام. أحدها العمد، وهو أن يقتله بجرح أو فعل يغلب على الظن أنه يقتله، كضربة بمثقل كبير، أو تكريره بصغير، أو إلقائه من شاهق، أو خنقه، أو تحريقه، أو تغريقه، أو سقيه سما، أو الشهادة عليه زورا بما يوجب قتله، أو الحكم عليه به، أو نحو هذا، قاصدا عالما بكون المقتول آدميا معصوما، فهذا يخير الوالي فيه بين القود والدية، لقول الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم: من قتل له قتيل فهو بخير النظيرين، إما أن يقتل وإما أن يفديه، وإن صالح القاتل عن القود بأكثر من ديه جاز. الثاني أيها المباركون شبه العمد، وهو أن يتعمد الجناية عليه بما لا يقتله غالبا، فلا قود فيه، والدية على العاقلة. الثالث الخطأ، وهو نوعان: أحدها أن يفعل ما لا يريد به المقتول فيفضي إلى قتله، أو يتسبب إلى قتله بحفر بئر أو نحوه، وقتل النائم والصبي والمجنون فحكمه حكم شبه العمد. النوع الثاني أيها المباركون أن يقتل مسلما في دار الحرب يظنه حربيا، أو يقصد رمي صف الكفار فيصيب سهمه مسلما، ففيه كفارة بلا دية، لقوله سبحانه وتعالى: فإن كان من قوم عدو لكم وهو مؤمن فتحرير رقبة مؤمنة. هذا والله أعلم.
بارك الله فيك شيخ. طيب, Jinayat is when a person, as we mentioned, he transgresses and he commits an act against someone else which is now liable to be punished. It is different from hudud. Hudud are the punishments that Allah Azza wa Jalla has set out regarding His rights. If someone commits a sin like drinking alcohol, there is a had. If someone commits zina, there is a had. If someone steals, there is a had. Okay? These are to do with the rights of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When it comes to certain hudud, where there is a mix between the right of Allah Azza wa Jalla and the right of others, like al-qadhf. If a person was to accuse another person of zina, okay, and there's conditions for it. If they were to accuse another person of fornication, then this is still considered a had, okay, even though it has to do also with the rights of someone, but Allah Azza wa Jalla has made it punishable no matter what. And there is some matters of difference there, inshallah Azza wa Jalla will explain. But jinayat is what someone does against a particular individual. What someone does against a particular individual, and the Shariah has given the person the choice on how they go about it. So the author, rahimahullah, he says, unjustifiable killing is divided into 3 types. So al-qatlu bi ghayri haqq, unjustifiable killing, someone that killed and they killed in an oppressive manner. If there's unjustifiable killing, then that means there's also justifiable killing. So we're not talking about someone who kills someone else where it is correct or it is right. Like for example in the penal system, if someone's punishment under the Shariah was to be put to death, then that is considered correct. Or in times of war, or if someone is defending themselves, and the only way they could defend themselves is that it led to the death of the other person, then Islamically speaking, this is not dam ma'soom. This is not dam this is not blood that is protected. This is something which is justifiable, and there's nothing wrong with that in the Sharia. What we're talking about is when someone was not allowed to be killed, and a person actually killed them, whether it was on purpose or accident, and we'll explain inshallah. So unjustifiable killing is split up into 3. First, intentional murder, in which one kills the victim by wounding him by any action that is likely to cause death. Make sure you memorize that. A person killed someone else by an action that was most likely to cause death. Such as, he gives some examples, such as beating him with a large weighty object, like a sledgehammer for example, or repeating the trauma with a smaller one, like a hammer, you were to continuously hit him. This is most likely going to lead to a person's death. I should have said that this is MA 15 plus, yeah? If there's any kids that are a bit scared for this stuff, my apologies. Or throwing him from a high enough roof, for example, or story or balcony, where most likely he's going to die if he falls off. Suffocating, burning, drowning him, giving him poison to drink, falsely testifying against him, thus bringing onto him the death penalty. And he's saying that he committed an act which he didn't commit. But you lie as a testimony, and being a witness, you lie in a punishment that is going to cause him death. Like for example, if he was married, to say that you seen him commit zina, and you had 3 other male witnesses with you, you lied, and that led to his death. Now you are responsible for this. You've killed him, or you've led to his death in something which you knew was going to, or you thought most likely is going to cause his death. Thus bringing onto him the death penalty, or the like of those actions. Anything else that is most likely going to cause a person to die. Conditions: while intending murder and being aware of the inviolability of the murdered. You, number 1, intending to murder this person, that's why you done it. And number 2, you knew that this person was not allowed to be killed. Was not allowed to be killed. The intention is important, because if a person didn't have the intention, then it goes to the other categories and the rulings are different. If a person killed someone without intending to do so, we gave the example of a sledgehammer. Someone hit someone with a sledgehammer, there's a very good chance in the head they're going to die. If you were on a job site and you were trying to hit a peg into the ground, and you hit the sledgehammer, it slipped out of your hand, hit your co-worker, and they died. So the action was the same, but the intention was different. One you hit with the sledgehammer and you intended to do so. You intended to kill him. Now he's dead. That's murder. The other one, same action, you didn't intend to do so. The ruling is different. The other one you can't be killed for. Okay, the other one you can't be killed for, and we'll explain soon, inshallah. Number 2, you knew that he was not allowed to be killed. You believed his blood was ma'soom, not allowed to be touched. Different if you thought, for example, it's a time of war, and you thought that he was an enemy soldier. If you actually thought that he was an enemy soldier, and you killed him because you thought he was an enemy soldier, then even though you intended to kill him, except that you would not be killed. Why? Because you thought that he was allowed to be killed. And there is a very important rule in Islam: idra'ul hududa bi-shubuhat. Remove the hudud, the penalties, with shubuhat, if there is some confusion or doubt. And if there's something that causes a person not to be punished with the punishment of Islam, then we take those matters of confusion into account. So here, we don't want to kill him. We want to be sure that he's deserving of that punishment. He made a mistake by killing that person. So yes, he's liable, he could be sinful. There's other things they need to do, but we're not going to be able to kill him back. The rulings are different. In such a case, the entitled heirs of the victim, those that will inherit from him, will be given the choice between lethal retaliation and receiving an indemnity. Al-Qawad is the person receiving the blood money. Indemnity here is the person receiving the blood money. The Sharia gives the right, now because the person's dead, it gives the right to the person that are going to inherit from that person. So it could be here his children, it could be broader than that, like his grandchildren, it could be his father, his brothers. It's got to do with his direct children and the men from the father's side. It's got to do with his children and the men from the father's side, like the cousins from the father's side, the nephews from the father's side, etc. The mother's side, they don't inherit. In general, the mother's side, they don't inherit, and this is why rulings are different. Like the wali of a girl has to be from her father's side. Part of this is that they are going to inherit from him. If there's no one that blocks them from the inheritance, like his children, it will go to others like his brothers. Naam. And also, they're going to be responsible for paying the blood money if it was by accident. So yes, they get a lot of rights, but they have a lot of responsibilities, which inshallah Azza wa Jal will explain when we get to it. So the entitled heirs of the victim will be given the choice between lethal retaliation, meaning an eye for an eye. They'll be able to kill that person, or they can accept the blood money. When it comes to the right of the people that would inherit from that person, let's say his children, it's their right to choose, do they want him to be killed or not killed? They are not the ones that carry it out. Very, 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 very important rule. All the punishments in Islam are carried out by the Islamic government. They're not carried out by the individual. And this is where a lot of people get it wrong. So let's say one person killed another person. Okay? This person's family says, we want revenge. We want an eye for an eye. So we're going to go and kill this person. No, that's not how it works. If the Islamic court finds this person guilty, then the Islamic government, they will carry out the execution, not the family. The family chooses what they want to happen, but the court, the government, they are the one to carry it out. And obviously you can understand the big wisdom behind that. They kill this person, then they kill that person, they can't hack it, they go back and kill that person, and it becomes civil wars, and we see what happens, forget overseas, in Sydney. The same issue. Every few years, the same issue is constantly repeated, unfortunately. Okay? Because they're like, we want an eye for an eye, we want to take out someone. The second mistake when it comes to an eye for an eye is people thinking that if someone killed your son, you can kill his son. That's not what it means. No. If someone killed your son, now they're the murderer, they're found guilty, the person, the murderer, he's allowed to be killed. Again, under Shariah, if in the court is found guilty, the government carries it out. Not, wallah, an eye for an eye, he took out a child of mine or killed my brother, I'm going to kill his child or his brother. This is not allowed in the Shariah whatsoever. The blood money, we'll explain how much it is. Again, all of this will come with us, inshallah. They do, in the olden ways, the way of writing is very different to our way of writing, and that's why they may mention certain things now and then explain it after. Because the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if someone is killed, his or her entitled heirs may choose between killing the murderer and sparing him or her, yani in exchange for indemnity, in exchange for that blood money, the diyah. Taban, they have a third option because it's their right. They can also forgive the person and not ask anything from them. If both parties mutually agree on more than the prescribed indemnity, a prescribed amount of blood money, it is permissible. So let's just say that the family, they say to the murderer, listen, you killed our father, and the blood money, let's just say approximately is $400,000. We're willing to let you live, but we want $600,000. That's allowed Islamically. And then he can choose whether he wants to accept it or not. He can say, yes, okay, $600,000, I'll pay it to you. Or he goes, no, I can't afford it, or I don't want to pay it. And then they say, okay, if you're not going to pay it, then we're going to choose the death penalty, and then he's killed. Okay, so they can negotiate on a price higher or a price lower. Tayyib. The Sharia are giving this right to the family, to either get an eye for an eye, and you killed one of us, or our brother, our son, whatever it was, you're going to be killed, or the blood money, or to forgive. The Sharia gave the rights to the family, and there's a massive wisdom in that. When you feel that you are in control, you don't seek that revenge. You don't seek that revenge. Especially when you know the Sharia is going to give you that right, that you can put your trust in the government after Allah Azza wa Jal, that they're going to do the right thing. In Australia, for example, a big problem that causes all of these killings is that the person who's going to kill, he knows he's going to get a jail for maximum 25 years. Absolute maximum, he's going to get a 25 years. And those 25 years, usually he's going to be living, generally speaking, quite comfortably. His food is there, his clothing is there, his family can visit him. After 25 years, he gets out. And if he was 30 years old when he done the murder, it's ugly. You went to jail, 25 years, 30 plus 25, 55 years old, comes out, continues his life. People get upset. They say, my father was killed because of you, my brother was killed, my son was killed because of you. I can never see them again. And you can see your family every weekend, and you can come out and live your life again. I don't want that to happen. So they go and seek revenge from their own hand. And so the killing just continues. There's no real reason for a person to leave it up to the government. That's if the government catches them in the first place. And that's if the government gives them 25 years. The majority of the time, they're not going to have to do that. Either they do a plea bargain, where they give up something, information or whatever it is, they plead guilty, they get time reduced, or a lot of the time, they get parole after they've been good for example, 15 years. Khalas, you've been good 15 years, we'll let you out, you just do parole for the next 10 years. Okay, so people get very upset when it comes to that stuff. And they don't have a trust in the system. So they get out and they seek it with their own hands. They want to see the person die. You killed someone from us, we want someone from you to die. That's just how it works. Okay, it's human nature. Some others may say, for us, we're not upset that someone died. Whether our brother, our son, our dad, our uncle, our cousin, whether they were going to die today or tomorrow, they're going to die. He's dead now. But the family, they're a very poor family. And he was the main breadwinner. So the blood money is going to do us a lot of favors. It's not going to replace our father. It's not going to replace our brother, our sister, whatever it is. It's not going to replace them. But it's going to go a long way in assisting. So what we want from you is to give the blood money. Either what the Sharia specified, or as we mentioned, they can ask for more. Sometimes the person is very wealthy, so it makes sense. Maybe the person is a millionaire. So you say to him, Akhi, give us $2 million, it's overlooked. Give us $2 million, it's overlooked. And there are a lot of times where this happens. Okay, there are a lot of, I'm talking about the drama stuff. Now, I'm not the Sharia, because I don't do it under the Sharia. But with a lot of the drama stuff that happens, a lot of these offers are made. Give us X amount of money, we drop the issue. Okay? Then, especially if the person's very wealthy, he may say, okay, no problem, done. And sometimes they say no, and then the wars, unfortunately, continue. So it's sad, but it's the right of the people. The next type is shibhul amd. Okay? Quasi-intentional, or it's you call it manslaughter. Okay? You call it manslaughter. That the person, he accidentally caused the death, but from a deliberate assault. Okay, so let's say, for example, a person got into a fight with someone and he gave him a king hit, and that king hit knocked him out and he died because of it. Or he gave him a king hit, he dropped, hit his head on the concrete and died because of it. So this is manslaughter. Okay, he didn't intentionally kill him. He did intend to assault him, but he didn't intend to kill him. And the action that he done was not an action that would normally lead to someone's death. This is manslaughter, and the rulings are different from the first one. The first one, the family has the option to do an eye for an eye, al-qisas, or they have an option to accept the diyah, the blood money, or they have the option to forgive. Here, what are the options? This is where one intentionally assaults someone in a way that would not usually cause death. Again, the first one, he does something that would normally cause death. Here, he does something that would not usually cause death, there is no lethal retaliation in this case. This person cannot get al-qawad. He cannot get an eye for an eye here. Okay? What happens to them? There is no lethal retaliation in this case, and the indemnity is due from the aqila. The indemnity, the blood money, is now an obligation to be paid by the person who killed to the family of the person that he killed. The killer, does he have to pay it all himself? No. Because it wasn't intentional, it's an obligation upon him and the males in his family from his father's side. So it could be his children, it could be his uncles from the father's side, it could be his father, it could be his cousins. Okay? Just like they have the right to inherit in certain cases, now they have also responsibilities. And they would have to pay the blood money and assist him in that. And it's an obligation upon them, especially if he can't afford it and give it himself. The third, and this is a complete mistake, a complete accident. So the person done something, didn't intend to assault him or anything, but he done an act which led to the person's killing, which has two types. So this third one has two types. First, to do something that does not target the victim, but that results in his killing, or to cause his killing by, for example, digging a well or the like. The person, he was on a job site, he dug, let's say he didn't put the, forget the formwork. He didn't put the scaffolding properly. Okay? He didn't put up the scaffolding properly. So he done something wrong. He didn't put the scaffolding up properly. The person went on the scaffold, he fell and he died. Okay, this is an example. So it was your negligence that led to this. By digging a well or the like, the ruling concerning the killing of one who is asleep, if someone's asleep in an accident and killed someone. Okay, for example, how you were sleeping on the top bunk and you fell on someone who was sleeping on the floor, boom. You squashed him, his heart stopped, he's dead. But you were asleep. You didn't intend to do it. Or also it can be included in this is the one who was sleepwalking. The one who was sleepwalking and he actually has a condition that can be proven. He was sleepwalking and he stabbed someone and it led to them dying. That's an example. Okay? So someone who was sleeping, or maybe you were operating a machine and you were asleep and you moved to the side and you moved the control and the arm of that machine, for example, hit someone and killed them. You didn't intend to do so, you were asleep. So this is an accident. Or a child, if a child killed someone, they got a gun and shot someone, they're a child, they're not accountable yet. Or they stabbed someone, or they poisoned someone. They didn't intend, they're a child, they're not mukallafun yet. Or someone that is insane. Okay, someone who doesn't know right or wrong, they're not in charge of their actions. Is like that of the quasi-intentional manslaughter. So they have the same rulings as the other one. They can't be killed. These people cannot be killed, an eye for an eye, but they have to pay the blood money, and the blood money is also it's also a responsibility upon the males from the father side to pay. Don't worry, only a few more minutes and then you can go, inshallah. The second example of the accident, like the third one, is to kill a Muslim in the abode of war. If you're in Dar Harb, okay, there's Dar Al-Islam. This is the old way of looking at how things are split up in terms of lands Islamically. You got the Muslim lands, clear-cut Muslim lands, they rule by the Shariah, etc. These are called Dar Al-Islam. Then you've got other places that you are at war with from the non-Muslim lands. There's actually a war between you. These are called Dar Harb. So you are in Dar Al-Islam and there's Dar Harb. So there's war between you guys. The second, to kill a Muslim in the abode of war. So there may be Muslims living there in Dar al-Harb. There may be Muslims living there and you think that they are part of the enemy. So you accidentally kill him, thinking that he's a warring enemy, or to target the lines of combatant unbelievers and to injure a Muslim. You were shooting, you went to shoot the enemy and you accidentally shot a Muslim. Okay, it was an accident. Then there will be an expiation without indemnity. This is something completely different altogether. This now doesn't have a blood money that you have to give to the person. Why? Because in this case here, you were thinking correct. There was a confusion. Okay, why was he in that place? Why was he in that place? Or it was a complete mistake. It wasn't your negligence that led to this. This is because the statement of Allah Azza wa Jal. But if the deceased was from a people at war with you and he was a believer, then only the freeing of a slave, and he gives the expiation for it. Again, we will explain inshallah. So this, you had no choice. You had no choice in, it wasn't due to your negligence. It was something that it was clear cut to you. Yani, I'm shooting the enemy and I accidentally shot him. Okay, there was no way around it. It was time of war. It wasn't just a random thing that I was doing. Or I was in Dar al-Harb and I didn't know that they were Muslim. And we're meant to be attacking that place. So here there is an expiation that a person has to do. Not, and we'll get into the expiations in the upcoming weeks inshallah. But he does not have to give the blood money. So the three examples again, or the three categories again. Number one, the person who kills on purpose. The person who kills on purpose, he intended to kill. And he done it in a way which it's most likely going to lead to the death of someone. He stabbed them, he hit them with something like a sledgehammer on the head. He done something which he actually believes is going to cause death. If he's found guilty, then the family have three options. An eye for an eye, carried out through the Islamic court. Number two, to accept the blood money. Number three, to forgive that person. Then the second example is when it is manslaughter. You intended to assault the person in a way which doesn't usually lead to a person's death, and he died. You killed him accidentally. As we said, you got into a fight with someone, you punched him, he died. A punch you doesn't kill someone, and that wasn't your intention. But subhanAllah, he died. Here, you cannot be killed because of it. You cannot be killed because of it. Here, you have to pay the blood money if they choose, or they can forgive. And your blood money is upon you and the men in your family from your father's side. Then you've got complete accident. Complete accident. You didn't assault anyone. You didn't transgress against anyone in terms of your physical self. But you have two types of this mistake. Number one, you done something out of your negligence that led to the death of someone. You were speeding. And la qadar Allah, you hit someone. You didn't intend to kill them. You didn't intend to run them over. You didn't intend to hit them. They ran in front of the road. Okay, but you were speeding. You shouldn't have been speeding. That's an example. Okay, you were on a job site. You didn't put the right materials up, or the right signs up, or the warnings up, or you didn't do your job properly, like the scaffolding. And a person, he, because of your negligence, died. Here again, it's like the second example. Now you could be responsible if you're found guilty, where the person can ask for blood money or they can forgive you, but you can't be killed because you didn't do anything intentionally. Nor did you intend to assault. The second example of a clear-cut mistake is when you thought that this person was able to be killed. Like in the example of the Harbi. You were at war and you thought they were a non-Muslim because they were living in their land, and you killed them thinking that they were a non-Muslim that you were at war with, but they ended up being a Muslim. Or the other example that they gave is when you were aiming for the non-Muslim enemy, but you accidentally hit a Muslim. Okay, this is again something that there's no penalty from their side that they can ask you for, but between you and Allah there's something that you need to expiate for. And this is what I wanted to mention, especially for this example, because a lot of people do have, whether it's on a job site or through car accidents or whatever it may be, people that they've killed unintentionally, and they haven't expiated for it. And when there's an expiation that the Sharia imposes on you, part of your tawbah, part of your asking for forgiveness from Allah Azza wa Jal, is that you fulfill that atonement. And a lot of people don't. Just like if a person was to break his fast in the month of Ramadan through intimacy with his spouse. But now there's a certain way to ask for forgiveness, not just, Ya Allah forgive me. The Sharia told you how to get forgiveness. So you need to follow these steps in order for you to get forgiven, and inshallah Azza wa Jal we'll explain that in the upcoming lessons and weeks. هذا والله أعلم صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى آله محمد وصحبه أجمعين.